Huge shout out goes out to our current channel members. If you're interested in gaining a channel membership, then feel free to head over to my channel profile and click the join button. Also, we do have a Ninjago Discord server. It's a great way to communicate with myself and many others. For more details on that, click the very first link at the very top of the description of this video.
Zane,
Thanks.
obviously now one of the main ninja in Ninjago. Now, right from the very beginning of, well, all of Ninjago, Zane was always a very different character. He was always unique. At the start, it was just a case of a personality difference. Then, of course, he was a ninjoid, which always separated him from all of the other obvious human ninja. Zane being a ninjoid definitely put him in his own different bracket and league entirely, and there were always very separate and different character arcs and stories that followed Zane as a result of this. And, yeah, keep that in mind. I just said that there were always different stories and character arcs regarding Zane's differences in comparison to the other ninja. In his particular case, though, him being a robot. The thing is, though, in recent years, Zane, well, he hasn't been anything like that. In fact, they have played into his robot side more than ever, in a way, as Zane recently, in my opinion, has been reduced to nothing more than just a normal, stereotypical, knowledgeable robot-type character. And this is what I would like to take a look at today. Today, I would like to answer the question of what happened to Zane, and I would like to also go over all of his recent performances in recent Ninjago seasons to really uncover the answer to that question of, well, what actually happens to him? Now, yeah, as I was saying, just to reiterate on this further, Zane, he's taken a huge backseat and has really just been reduced to nothing more than a machine for the most part, and he's only ever really there to give the others answers and explain things, simply, more or less. You could consider him to be the intellect of the ninja team. He is the brains to the ninja team. And that is really just about it. Now, in order to properly explain the actual topic of today's video, I would like to first start with Season 8, for the sake of today's video anyway. Although, I suppose you could consider this entire section and portion of the video, you know, to be about the Oni trilogy, because we're not just talking about Season 8 in particular for this section, we're talking about Seasons 8, 9, and 10 overall, I suppose you could say. Now, he took a huge and absolutely major backseat from around this time. He did basically nothing memorable. Now, yeah, sure, he did have his Snake Jaguar moments, but, I mean, really, other than that, Zane absolutely did not do much. I can, I suppose, excuse it this time around, though, for this one particular circumstance, as most ninja, other than Lloyd, didn't exactly do anything, if we're being entirely honest and real with ourselves, as I suppose you could consider Seasons 8, 9, and 10 to be Lloyd's main time to shine, because everything was really focused around, you know, Garmadon, obviously Lloyd's father, and there were other different things going on that all involved Lloyd. So again, I can kind of excuse it for that, but still, Zane really didn't have any focus in the slightest, but again, because of Lloyd, I can mostly excuse the lack of any, like, at all, any real Zane focus. Season 11, though, was an interesting case, and this is where we're moving more on to actual season-by-season circumstances. We're not just talking about, like, groups of seasons like we just did, but Season 11 was definitely quite an interesting case in the circumstance of today's video, as, of course, he was technically the main villain of the second portion of this season, the Ice chapter, alongside the General Vex's influence. Despite this, though, there really wasn't much proper focus on Zane as an actual character, even as he was freed from his role as the Ice Emperor. There wasn't any solid arc or story dealing with the after effects of him being this, like, hugely evil being and entity. There was really nothing. To me, though, this was absolutely the official beginning of Zane having absolutely no good treatment or any meaningful spotlight. From this point onwards, things turned sour. And this absolutely continued into Season 12 and Season 13. Now, in Season 12, he did have some form of unique role, I'd say. Due to him being a ninjoid, he was unable to enter the video game, obviously Prime Empire, and so he was out and about in the real world, trying to find Unagami in the real world, as obviously at that point in time they assumed Unagami was a real person, and so Zane could essentially find the real version of Unagami in Ninjago and put a stop to all of his evil plans. So that was Zane's role. He was out and about in Ninjago City doing some detective work. So I suppose that Season 12 did at least provide Zane with some form of actual role that isn't just standing around in the background doing literally nothing. But this still wasn't exactly much in my personal opinion, and I think they definitely could have done a little bit more with him, considering it was a video game season and technology is definitely Zane's expertise, but still, at least it was something, right? I can't complain all that much. But surely they would actually fix this for season 13 and onwards, right? Surely they would actually come back and give Zane something meaningful in regards to his character. Well, no, not exactly, as season 13, on the other hand, was just even worse. There's not really much to say here, like, at all, so I don't even feel the need to say much else here, and the same can also be said for Seabound. Other than his small pirate moments, which were played off of his Ninjroid side, same thing with the island too, of course, like, everything was just used for humour, basically, whenever Zane did get focus, and if it wasn't to do with comedic relief, it was just, like, him using his knowledge and his knowledge circuits or whatever. That was really it. And the same also can be said with the island, don't let me forget, and also Crystalized, of course. Absolutely nothing meaningful happened to Zane when there were definitely plenty of opportunities for, well, something actually meaningful to happen with Zane. Even if it was just like a small character arc, there could have at least been something. So, well, what actually happened? Zane always felt like a very popular ninja in terms of the fanbase, especially during the earlier days of Ninjago, and let me tell you, he definitely does still have fans out there. So why was he just kicked to the curb later on in Ninjago's life? Well, maybe that's it. Perhaps Zane really just isn't as marketable and as popular as the other ninja, hence why he's never truly focused on. But even then, that's not really that good of an excuse considering Nia finally got a solid season all to herself, and she really isn't marketable from everything we know, so they did still take a risk with Nia at least, but Zane still has been left with absolutely nothing. And it's not really like I can end today's video off on a very good, happy, positive note, because, like, there's really no chance of anything happening in the future with Zane, and of course, I really hope that Zane can have something all to himself later on within Ninjago's future, but as I'm saying here, with the direction Ninjago is currently headed in, that's looking really just unlikely anymore, which is definitely a real shame. Overall though, in regards to today's video, Zane is absolutely an interesting case. It's really like a fall from grace in my personal opinion, and he just isn't given the same level of love and respect as he once was. Still, I really hope that Zane can have more focus on himself in the future, but again, it's really not looking all that likely. But with all of this being said, I do turn it over to all of you now. What do you think happened to Zane? Why did he end up this way when he seemed to be such a huge spectacle during the earlier days of Ninjago? Let me know down below in that comment section. And while you're down there, guys, I would just like to remind you to keep things respectful, as that is the whole point of this channel. To have unique and diverse and also respectful conversations about whatever topic it is we're discussing that day. But with all of this being said, again, feel free to drop any thoughts on all of this down below in the comment section. And with all of this being said, guys, if you did end up enjoying today's video, which, if you're watching now, then you probably did, please do go ahead and leave a like on it. It really helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel for more, and also go ahead and hit that notification bell so that you can all be the absolute first people to watch all of my new content as soon as I do post it. And with all of this being said, I will catch you all very soon for a new video. Well, goodbye everyone. I will see you all very soon. Goodbye.